No Simple Road. Yeah, here we go.
I know the road may seem to go on forever and a lifetime.
I'll just be honest. I don't have my shit together today. I don't.
No,
But it's okay.
is it all your shit just all
It's
loose,
all over the
laying
place.
around?
Hey, now.
Lost a few things,
Everybody, No Simple Road family, it's Aaron.
It's Mel.
and it's Apple.
And we have to start this episode by thanking No Simple Road family member Connor for introducing us to this week's guest on the show.
The Tuesday String
Band.
Band.
You know, one of the coolest things about doing No Simple Road is finding out about up and coming cool artists like this.
Yep.
Yes. And this is a prime example, because you'll hear in this conversation, it is amazing what these three have done in 2 years.
Yeah, and the fact that bluegrass is not any of their first background.
Yeah.
They came from completely metal and jazz and different areas and are awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I was showing some coworkers at work the post that we did on our Instagram. Neither one of the people that I showed are into bluegrass or any of it, but just hearing that back on the train and how they sound, it's amazing. They were floored. Both of them were floored. They were like, "Oh my God, who are these people?" Like, yeah, exactly. Who are these people? Well, you're going to find out during this interview who these awesome people are.
I think people too that haven't been turned on to bluegrass, kind of like we were. They just haven't been subjected to it right.
And then when I think too, people that haven't been turned on to bluegrass, a lot of them have preconceptions about what it is.
Oh, it definitely.
Yeah.
I know. I kind of did for a while there, and then you discover what's going on with it nowadays. It's incredible.
I think also too, like you say, bluegrass. I didn't even know a difference between bluegrass and country really early on.
I gotta be honest, me either.
I would have put them in the same category.
Oh yeah,
and they're completely different.
Totally, and kind of hard to believe that these guys are I think the very first band that's played live in the No Simple Road studio. I mean, we've had people with like a guitar,
yeah,
or a flugelhorn.
yeah. Garcia Birthday Band played a little for us. We had Family Mystic.
Yeah, not in the studio.
We've had a few.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, like
Yeah,
okay,
Chris
in this studio,
Okay,
in
yeah.
this studio.
In this particular room,
in this newer studio,
Yeah.
So you'll hear a little bit of that before we get to the conversation, and then stick around at the end because you'll hear a full tune. They did Salty Dog.
Yeah.
I want y'all to hear it.
And then with all the things being done in bluegrass, I love Mason, who plays the bass, has a background kind of in metal, and I love that they're trying to do tunes like Slayer
Does It
and
Grass?
Metallica, like in bluegrass
I
style.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
go follow their Instagram. What is it, Apple?
At Tuesday String Band on Instagram, and then you can also go to TuesdayStringBand.com to find out what they're up to. They have shows up right now.
They're playing every Tuesday at Gilgamesh Brewing down in Monmouth.
It's actually in Independence.
Okay.
Is where it's at. Every Tuesday from 5 to 7. This weekend they are touring around. They're down in Arizona for a couple dates and then bring it back up here. They have dates coming up at Edgefield out in Troutdale.
Right on.
And I know they have
around.
a date coming up on 4/20, but I can't announce what that is yet. I know that it's happening, but we haven't announced that yet. So
Right on.
Let's do the business.
Yeah,
Let's do
let's
the
get
thing.
them to the Tuesday String Band. All right, follow us on Instagram. At
do that.
No Simple Road and www.nosimpleroad.com, and there you will find all of your No Simple Road needs, like
merch. You can
Hell
set up
yeah.
a tarot reading with Aaron and Mel.
That's right.
You can
Newsletter.
see what we're up to, where we've been. There's pictures up there. What
Past
we're
episodes.
doing. Yeah.
You think about like things that you would do on a website. That's what you can do on our website.
Yeah, it's the hub. It's the hub for all things No Simple Road related.
And one of our favorite things that people do on that website is go to Patreon through there.
Yeah,
you can
Patreon
follow that link.
.com/No Simple Road. That is how you can financially support us, man.
Yeah.
Go over there, become a member. You can sign up for free so you can see the content that's being posted. Decide if you really want to pitch in $1 or $2 or 1,000 or
Whatever.
a million or
Yeah.
whatever.
Any amount.
yeah, or sometimes even not based on content. Just it's a way to support us. Those
Thank you,
$1
Apple.
makes a difference from
That's
everybody.
very true.
Apple speaking truth.
So then there's other ways you can support us, like leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You can also call 971-808-1524.
The No Simple Road tepid line.
That's right. And when you call the tepid line, you can be like, hey, bro, what's up? Fish tour's coming. We're excited. Woo woo. And then hang up and that's it. Or you can tell us about grandma's recipe. You can tell us what?
You could tell us about your trip down to Mexico to see fish,
That's
because
right.
you're probably almost recuperated, not yet, but let us know about your trip report.
Yeah, anyway, that's a great way to share with the No Simple Road family your thoughts about any episodes or anything going on in your life, and we love to hear it.
True. Also, tell somebody you love about No Simple Road.
There
man.
it is.
Yeah.
That's the best way. Spread the word
That is
from
how-
your mouth to someone else's ears that you love.
That's how we spread the mycelial network. That is the No Simple Road family.
That's right. So whoever you are out there listening to the No Simple Road for the first time because you love Tuesday String Band, why don't you hit one of your friends up and be like, hey, listen to my favorite band on my new favorite podcast.
Yep. And then go on Apple Podcasts and leave a review.
There you go.
And then you did like all the stuff
Did all
we
the
asked you to do,
things.
except for sign up on Patreon. But you're
You can
going to
do that too.
anyway. Cool. Let's.
But yeah, now that we've let you
and
know.
a last thank you before we get to it to Brian, Gage, and Mason for coming and joining us in the
Yeah, that
studio
was really sweet.
and giving us a little concert.
keep your eye on these cats. I have a feeling that they aren't going to be playing in pubs for very long.
And if
That's
they
my
are,
prediction.
you're lucky to see them.
that too. So
Yeah.
let's do the thing.
All right.
Ready?
Do the thing.
Without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you
Tuesday String Band.
When I jumped off, I had a bucket full of thoughts. When I first jumped off, I held a bucket in my hand. Ideas that would take me all around the world. I stood and watched the smoke behind the mountain curl. Took me a long time to get back on the train. Now I'm gone and I'll never look back again. I'm gone and I'll never look back at all. You know I'll never look back again. I turned my face into the howling wind. Took me a long time to get back on the train.
Yeah. And let's see. It started with Gage and I here.
Just duo.
Yeah, we met. We were both saxophone players in the.
What?
okay.
Love
From
that.
saxophone to bluegrass, right?
Wow.
Yep. Through the music program at Western Oregon University.
Okay.
I guess it was it was during the COVID times.
It
and we
was
were-
wind ensemble. Rehearsals were outdoors. We
What
were
the fuck?
Oh yeah.
What time of year are we talking about?
all year round.
All
winter.
year round.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
In
The
the cold.
school year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They made a lot of strange efforts to, deal with the pandemic for the band kids, right? So
And we're grateful, that we still were able to rehearse and
Yeah.
and go to school, physically be there,
yeah, but we would do outdoor rehearsals, distanced from each other, and we had specialized masks that had a hole in them.
Dude, but the air is still coming out of the fucking instrument. Anyway, please continue.
Yes, and then they're like, oh, but the brass instruments are going to have, spit coming out of the valves. What are we going to do about that? So they got puppy pads.
Oh my God.
It was
Okay.
a lot of bizarre attempts. We were kind
A
of
sax tampon.
Well, we had a musician on that played sax during COVID that used a saxophone panty, as he called it, to cover the top so nothing would be coming out. We're like, okay.
Okay, so we're in COVID. You have pads on your instruments. You're playing outside. Please continue.
It's a weird time.
Yeah.
I love
the
this
world's
breakdown
totally normal.
so
Don't
much.
worry about it.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Please spare no detail.
Well, somehow Ryan had heard that I played guitar secretly on the side. And for me, guitar was like my guilty pleasure. I'm studying jazz and classical saxophone at music school.
Right.
And I'm going home burnt out at the end of the day playing rock and roll riffs on my guitar, And Ryan had heard that I played guitar, and he was just starting to learn about bluegrass music, right?
Yeah, I got this. I got a mandolin out of, I guess it was an antique store in Cottage Grove that I just saw it in the window. It was an old Frankenstein Kentucky mandolin where the serial number had been scratched out on the inside.
Because it had been stolen like 16 times and sold at pawn shops.
Yep, I think so.
Had a rich history.
That was my first one. So I'd been learning fiddle tunes on that and really, really kind of fallen in love with that. And so, yeah, I saw if Gage would bite on some bluegrass bait if I dangled it out in front of him. He did.
I did. I got the bug.
So if it was like a banjo in the window, do you think you would have bought it too?
Maybe, but the seed was really planted. I worked at Breedlove Guitars when I lived in Bend, and a lot of musicians worked there, as you
Okay.
might imagine. And there was a mandolin player who would always whip out the mandolin on breaks and just, start going nuts. And I was fascinated by that. So I think that planted the seed that I wanted to eventually try mandolin.
There ain't nothing cooler than getting something custom made for yourself.
I know. You can be like, you know what? I'm in my yellow phase, and you want some cool yellow tie-dyes accentuated by a little bit of green, maybe orange, and throw some purple in there.
You want to grab yourself some like white Dickies painter overalls and have them custom tie-dyed, or Dickies painter pants, or a hoodie, a G-string, I don't know, whatever, man. Custom shit's cool.
Probably dye just about anything.
That's
I'm
right.
sure Travis would.
Go check out our brother over at thegratefulmountain.com. He is doing custom orders for the No Simple Road family right now. Shoot him a DM over on Instagram. Tell him what you want. Go to his website. He's got some stuff up there too.
thegratefulmountain.com.
Yeah, he's got some good slaps up there, and there's nothing like when he did my bibs, like giving them like a few colors and letting an artist do their thing.
Yes,
And this is
absolutely.
definitely an artiste in the field
And
of
it's
tie-dye.
also a collaboration.
That's true. So
Yeah.
go to thegratefulmountain.com, check out what he's got going on, maybe grab yourself some, or hit him up on Instagram and tell him what you want. He will make it happen. And you're getting free shipping for all orders in the US. And
Our code NSR20 for 20% off of your order.
that's right, thegratefulmountain.com.
Mandolin has the coolest reputation for being easy to bring with you anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can take a hike with a mandolin. You
It's
can't do that
awesome.
with a upright bass.
On most planes, you can fit it under the seat in front of you.
Okay.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, studying jazz is its own animal. What was the thing that drew you to wanting to play bluegrass?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, because
For all of you.
that's a shift.
Oh, well, I'm actually pretty new to the whole bluegrass thing because when they started out, I wasn't the bass player originally. There was another guy named Carson at Western Oregon who's a phenomenal bass player. He's a great guy.
Okay.
So I'm completely new to playing bluegrass. You know, I play jazz, I play metal rock, I'll play anything. So I really appreciate that these guys are like educating me on this style of music. And it's definitely improved my playing and the way I practice music and the way I practice songs and that kind of thing, especially soloing as well. So
the bass has always been your instrument, or
I actually started playing drums first in middle school. So I started out playing drum set lessons, and in middle school playing in the concert band, playing concert percussion. Then just a year later, I picked up bass, like the electric bass, and ever since then it's just drums and bass, my main thing. But yeah.
So since you're new to the whole bluegrass thing, what's your favorite like new bluegrass band?
I will say I'm trying to listen to more bluegrass. I'm not so familiar with some newer bluegrass stuff. I'm mostly trying to get familiar with the old stuff, and that's also comes with just playing the music and going through my streaming service, whatever, and just trying to find all these connections of whatever
I think
artists
that's a
are
smart
around.
way to do it, because if you start with the foundation, then you can build from there. That's where the tradition comes from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what about the rest of you guys?
Well, for me, Ryan introduced me to bluegrass, and I didn't really know what it was. He just told me, "Hey, go learn this tune, and we'll try to play it together sometime." It was called Blackberry Blossom, and I learned it, and Ryan was impressed that I had actually taken the time to learn it, and we played it together. And the first bluegrass guitarist that I really listened to was Billy Strings. It was around that time, 2020, where he was starting to really pop off, and for me, I really have always loved playing acoustic guitar and electric, but acoustic has always felt something about just an acoustic instrument, right? It's all in the fingers, it's all in the picking. And when I heard him play, it was like, wow, I didn't know people did that on acoustic guitars.
Same.
It just looks like a guitar that someone would have around a campfire, and he's just blazing on this thing. And I was like, oh wow, this is really cool shit.
He's pretty inspirational.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can't underplay pretty. That's underplaying it. He's a force of nature.
No, I know.
It started a whole thing. Like,
I just mean as a human being, his ability, his natural talent, his kindness, a way that he connects with his fans, and like, I don't know, he just also feels relevant for the time and also innovative. Billy Strings has created an entire new way of looking at music, I think.
And also, like, I think a new way of handling celebrity. I just saw this morning, he's like,
that's what I was going to say.
doing this 3-day run in Colorado, and he's volunteering at the homeless shelter, giving out food every morning before the shows. Like, you don't see that.
No.
And I think that's
raising the standard.
Well, I think
not
it
the
speaks
standard.
to, I think it
It's
speaks
not
to
that
the
there's a
bluegrass
standard
thing too.
Just, I guess he's just being such a kind person in action. And that's, I think, inspirational to everybody. That's what I meant when I said he's inspirational, and just try to sum it up, all that stuff that I was saying.
Yeah. And I think that it also is part of the nature of bluegrass too, because
it's a very giving community.
Yeah. And when you're playing bluegrass together, it's truly like a sharing experience. You're passing around the solo to each other. So you're sharing the song. Not that you don't do that in other music, but I think that's a unique thing to bluegrass, and playing music and doing that with other people does something to you.
Yeah.
Have you guys, do you love Stella Blue?
I love Stella Blue.
Do you love Fire on the Mountain?
Yes.
That's my favorite.
Do you love Truckin'?
Yeah.
Yeah, even Truckin'.
That's one of my faves.
You can have all of these songs told in picture from our friends over at Shop Tour Bus.
What?
That's right. Go to shoptourbus.com or at Shop Tour Bus on Instagram. Check out all the Grateful Dead song-inspired designs by our friends over at Shop Tour Bus.
And when you order something from them, it doesn't just come in like that boring, rip it open, throw it away bag from Amazon or whatever. It comes in the coolest box. In fact, they got these new the Never Ever Land boxes that they're shipping in right now. These are like keepsakes, like, for all your doodads. And it comes packed with doodads that come with the shirt.
You might even get doodads or a Grateful Dead bootleg.
So whatever it is that you want, when you fill out the checkout information, enter the promo code No Simple Road, and you're going to get free shipping for whatever it is you ordered.
This is true. So go check out shoptourbus.com or at Shop Tour Bus on Instagram. Order yourself something cool, man. Do it now. Do it now. right now.
Now's the time.
Go for it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we were just at a festival this weekend in Florence called the Winter Music Festival in Florence, Oregon. And, we're jamming with people of all skill levels. It's accessible music. It's not a ton of chords like jazz or anything. But, depending on where you're at, you can take breaks or you can sing some songs. And we learn new songs every time we go to these festivals just from people there. People have been playing this music forever.
Wow.
And so it's incredible.
So what
Yeah.
was your transition from the jazz world into this thing?
Well, I experienced a little bit of the elitism, I would say, in the university jazz and concert band settings, which was a big turnoff. And then it was an ethnomusicology project I did for Dr. Mueller, Charles Mueller, if you're out there listening.
What's up, Dr.
Shout
Mueller?
out. Cool guy. He held us all to a high standard, so I tried to do good work for him.
Well, that's a good teacher. It makes
Yeah.
you strive for your best, even though you don't think you have it in you.
Mm-hmm. So I did my project on the bluegrass music scene in the Pacific Northwest. And so
That's a cool
Whoa.
topic.
Yeah. And so I went out and I went online, I discovered the Oregon Bluegrass Association.
Yes.
Okay.
And through that, I discovered the schedule of regular jams,
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to some of those. I went to one at Artichoke Music
Mm-hmm.
here in Portland. I went to one in Eugene, and I just discovered this thing where, it's a jam, but there are guidelines to help it, I guess, invite everyone into the fold and give it some structure,
Right.
which I really appreciated. It's like everybody was familiar with these tunes, or if they weren't, they were able to pick up on them pretty quickly through the Nashville numbers system, and no one had music in front of them. This was all like an oral tradition.
So that's got to
Okay.
be weird by itself for somebody coming from the university jazz world to that. You're like, what the fuck?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I love that, and there was also a wide, like Gage said, beginners to advanced in the same circle was really cool to watch. And
Well, I would imagine that would allow for some good communication, like, visually and like body language that you wouldn't get if you have music in front of you.
absolutely,
Right? Like there's a whole other element that's like another place that you can engage.
Yeah,
you're in
right
it.
now we're sitting in a circle, and that's like the ideal setup for a bluegrass jam. Everyone's eyes up,
Yeah.
listening and communicating. There's even like, if you're gonna tag something, you kind of twirl the headstock of your instrument at the end, or if you're getting ready to end the song, you put your foot out.
Okay.
So there's little cues.
Thank you for saying that. I love this.
Yeah. So it's like I observed this whole thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be a part of this. This is
You fell in love with it.
That's really cool,
Yeah.
man. I can't think of any other kind of music that does that. You're not going to like a classical meetup and jamming classical. You're not doing that. Even jazz, I don't think does that. And then like to have a whole like unspoken language that's happening that people can learn and pick up on to help them feel more a part of, whether you can rip or not. That helps you kind of feel like you're part of the thing when you start understanding the signs.
It is like the most, like we've said, it's the most supportive like music scene we've seen. Like going to the festivals, like when we went to Northwest String Summit, everybody is rooting for each other. Everybody's taking the stage with each other, and then when they're done, they're back at camp all picking together all night long, and everybody's like rooting for each other. You don't see that a lot in music scenes.
No. Can you tell me a little bit about, like, you said you experienced elitism, right?
Oh yeah.
But like coming into the bluegrass scene, have you found it to be pretty accepting?
Oh yeah.
Whatever your level is?
That was the refreshing thing that won me over.
Yeah.
would say.
They meet you where you are. If you're a beginner, if you can play your first few chords, you can sit in at a jam, even if you're a month into your journey.
Really?
Yeah. You just got to know your open G, C, D.
Oh, I'm set.
And you're
Let's
good.
go.
You're good to go. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think most of the players I've encountered in the bluegrass world, they just want to get people involved. They want to build the community.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was terrified when I went to my first bluegrass jam. I didn't really know much, and I sort of sat outside of the circle and like very quietly tried to watch some fingers and just strum along until someone was like, "Hey, come on in here." So I got invited in. I was given a solo break. It wasn't really presented as an option, but I'm glad that it wasn't because, I got through it.
It made you do it.
Yeah, I got through it, and then it wasn't so scary the next time.
Well, but
Aw,
you see that
that's awesome. As an adult, you got invited into the circle to come play with everyone else, and they made sure to even give you like a turn, a specific turn. Like that is so sweet. It's like a very sweet musical gesture to do, and being so inclusive, and all you need to do is like know the chords. That's it. That's what qualifies you. It's really something that made me fall in love with bluegrass as well. Like that scene is so beautiful, blooming, and different to like Manor's lead and in every aspect, and people listen to each other. That was something that I'm not a natural musician, so not understanding that listening was such a part of music, always thinking that playing, what are you talking about? But like, and everyone is so generous with their information too, like just wanting to share what they know. And, I don't know. I just really love the whole scene, the bluegrass scene. It's amazing.
Well, and the whole thing too, I've always loved it. There's no like coming from like rock music back in the 80s and stuff. There was always
You're old, dude.
It was always like the lead singer was the dude. That was the one that got more on the album cover and stuff, kind of like Almost Famous. Where they're like, why are we all fucking blurry? Yeah. And you're in focus and stuff. And with bluegrass, it's not like that. There is no lead. Everybody is kind of equals in the group. And a lot of the bands, like you guys did, does everybody sing?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm getting into it.
Okay. And see, you don't see that a lot either. Like in bluegrass, like everything is equally shared and admired. And like Mel said, the like paying attention to each other. That's one of the things I love about bluegrass. Like when you have the one mic up there and everybody's kind of around it and they step up and like are so courteous about it.
Yeah.
And it's like
It's
that.
a vibe.
You're telling us that
It's a
there's
vibe.
like you put your foot in, like there's little cues that we don't know about that they're doing to be respectful and pass the jam on. And I love that when they have the one mic and everybody around it. Like,
I think too, like bluegrass is largely shared person to person. And so for the art form to continue to survive, it has to be what you're talking about. If it was like a closed door thing, I don't know if bluegrass would continue to evolve, because of what it is. And what trips me out about your story is, you're at your first picking thing and sitting in the back out of the circle, right? Playing quietly, but were a musician already and you knew how to play. So what was it that like made you feel like you were on the outside? Cause you have performed playing jazz and played in front of people. And why was that different?
I guess it was the style. I wasn't super familiar with the style or, their particular library of songs that they all seemed to know by heart. Well, that was new for me. I knew a bunch of jazz standards.
I see these cats that like know every fucking fiddle tune under the sun, and they can just like, you can call it out and they just start ripping it. It blows my mind. And there's the catalog is so deep and it's only getting deeper. I think that you guys are lucky because of what we were talking about earlier. Guys like Billy Strings and the String Dusters and Green Sky Bluegrass and others, like there's this resurgence and focus that's on bluegrass right now. Have you found that it's easier for you guys to get gigs because of that? People are more open to it?
I think so. Yeah, we're definitely experiencing a cultural moment where bluegrass is becoming popular again. I feel like that it hasn't really enjoyed that since maybe as a part of the folk revival that happened in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
You know, so but of course it's different this time around.
It's weirder now.
Yeah,
Definitely
Yeah,
weirder now.
yeah.
which is more appealing to me. You know,
For sure.
it's got that jamgrass element heavy in it this time around, I think, which was present before, you know, with Olden in the Way and some of those kinds of groups. But I think that's like the driving force this time around.
Well, hearing bluegrass with like effects and a looping pedal in it, that's a whole different animal now. I feel like jamgrass was a thing, and it's evolving now even further into something else. I don't even know what to call it anymore, but I'm here for it, man.
Yeah, there's not any boundaries anymore. Like people have gotten over that. Like the few bluegrass bands that do have drummers and stuff. Like it was 12 Mile or so we talked to, and they got a lot of shit for having a drummer. It's like, you don't have a drummer in the bluegrass. It's like, why
Do what I
not?
fucking want, man.
We're creating this. We're creating music, and then you got like we're talking like psych grass and all
Trash
the different
grass, galaxy grass, new
like,
grass.
yeah, everybody's just creating new things.
Everybody's growing their own grass.
yeah.
So
What shade of grass would you think?
Oh, yeah,
that
Tuesday
you got?
String Band.
Yeah, Tuesday String Band.
I mean, we definitely play a lot of traditional bluegrass and stuff, but we go outside the box a little bit too.
Okay.
The string band world encompasses more than just bluegrass. You can
Right.
say,
Yes.
there's like on another side of it, there's the jazz manouche or the hot club jazz, like Django Reinhardt.
oh, okay.
yeah.
yeah.
That's string band music, 3 guitars and an upright bass usually.
Okay.
And then there's dog music, David Grisman, which heavily influences the jamgrass sound that we hear today so much, where it's kind of the combination of the jazz and the traditional bluegrass to create this new fusion style. So there's more to it than just traditional bluegrass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of want to just see how far we can push the boundaries of while staying within the string band tradition. So I don't imagine we'll add a drummer because I'm interested in seeing how far we can push the string band, the traditional
Just
string
these
band
instruments.
ensemble.
Yeah.
Because the interplay between the instruments, works as a driving percussive force. With the bass
You
primarily
forget that
playing
it's
on 1 and 3. And
you forget. I know him and I when I'm listening to bluegrass, a lot of times I forget that there's no drummer because of that percussive element that you're talking about. It's like
sure.
a train rolling down a track, like it's going. And
I want to finish how you asking Gage to practice, and then how did that turn into the band?
Well, we just, it gave us something to do other than
get up on it.
Yeah,
There you
okay.
go. There you go.
It gave us
Yeah.
something to do other than, study this classical and jazz, another type of music. And so we just picked together a lot, I guess. And it was at least once a week, twice a week or so. We'd just get together and learn some new tunes together and play. And we played like one show as a duo, just a very small house party type of thing. And then I moved back. I'm from Alaska, and I moved back there for about a year. So we were separated. And then, but I was still practicing the bluegrass stuff and learning new tunes and whatnot. And I came back to Oregon, and Ryan was there. He'd been practicing, and we reunited. And then that's when we added Carson, the first bass player that was with us until he moved back home to Bend. And then we got Mason now. And so, yeah, it really just, the seed was planted, and then a year or so passed, and we came back and reformed and turned it into a real project.
Yeah.
Mason, what do you think the biggest musical lesson you've learned since joining this band is?
Oh wow. I think definitely the importance of just learning from each other and getting like tight, like just playing together and learning from that. Because I think I've noticed from a lot of moments with playing with them that like when we're a moment where we're jamming out together, and it's like that interplay of someone plays a lick, someone plays a certain rhythm, and we bounce it back and forth, or have the musical conversation. And as jams go, I think that's really helped my playing, like just playing with them has really helped that.
What about for you guys?
Wait, could you restate
Yeah,
that?
yeah. What's the
Repeat the question.
biggest musical lesson you've learned since playing together?
Musical lesson.
Yeah, like it's something that you just didn't know before.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one.
Well, I mean, maybe I'll go with this. So we were lucky enough to get a residency playing every Tuesday,
Cool.
and a little, a spot in our hometown called Gilgamesh Brewing.
Okay, shout out Monmouth.
Yeah, exactly. So that forced us to play every week together in front of an audience.
Right on.
And so,
Force you to get like serious about the craft.
yeah,
Like that specific one, you know. Of course you're musicians already, but like this
Now you're doing the
project. Yeah.
right. So that was huge, just
Mhm.
forcing us to play together consistently, and get to know each other better musically, and to learn how do you engage an audience. Because I would say at first it was a challenge because people came there to eat and they're like, oh, there's a band over there,
Mm.
you know.
Oh, yeah.
But we prefer to engage the audience. We do a lot of banter and try to make it feel like a front porch picking session,
Oh.
you know. But at first, people, weren't used to that.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, there's a band playing over there. in the
I'm
back.
trying to eat my wings.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, how can I get this lady with a mouthful of Cobb salad to like look this way and be interested? So we tried a lot of things that didn't work. And we
What are
just
some of the
kept trying.
tactics you use? Some of the
You can't give that away here. It's
At least,
that's
come
like
on, just
teaching
one.
somebody a magic
just
trick.
one. You can.
Sure. I think I learned that you just like early on in the show, you just help like manage expectations and just say, hey, we're not like a lot of bands. We're gonna be yapping at you. And we might pick on you a little bit. It's nothing personal though. We like to treat this more like a front porch picking session than a show. And then that kind of changes their mind
great.
about what to expect from this group up on the stage.
And now they're engaged too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it became much easier once we earned some regulars who are showing up week after week, because then you can, address people by name from the stage. And so newcomers are like, oh, this is like a little
thing.
community
family
going
thing.
on
Yeah.
here.
Hell yeah.
Singing happy birthday to people,
Oh,
all
that's
that kind of stuff.
dope.
That's fun.
Yeah, just cracking jokes too and showing off personality, I think helps people feel a little more welcomed. It's like we're not just here putting on a perfectly polished, polished performance, yes, but there's an improvisational aspect even to the banter. We're just winging it a lot of the times, trying to tell stories and make jokes and whatnot.
Yeah, we're here to have fun. We
Yeah.
want you to have fun with us. Come on.
I think that's the best shows too, is when the audience is part of it. I mean, that's all the music that we
Yeah.
love to go see is
Mhm.
the audience is part of the show.
Mhm.
You know?
Jimbo, one of our regulars, he oftentimes tells a joke just sitting up front. And if it's a good enough one, I repeat it into the microphone. If it's family friendly enough.
Well,
But yeah.
you did your paper on the Oregon bluegrass scene, right?
Mhm.
How has the reception been for you guys here in Oregon as a band?
I think we've been brought into the fold in a very faster than I expected, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we make it a point to go to these festivals and meet as many people as we can and jam with people too. I think that's one of the ways people remember us more is when we get out our instruments and pick with them,
Mhm.
after the show or, whenever.
Right.
It helps you connect to people, really.
Isn't that like more than just being a performer? Isn't that like what it's about to be a musician, is connecting with people? You want to play the music that's going to make people feel something. So you're connecting with them, right?
Yes. Oh, that makes me think of another answer for your question about
Let's
what
hear
I've
it,
learned.
man.
Just having accumulated hours on stage now, it's really shown me that it is about connection with people from the stage, connection with individuals. So you're looking out and you're really actually trying to make eye contact with one person at a time and have like a moment with them.
Make it personal.
Yeah, and it transforms the way that I perform, I think.
And
Well, I think that it's like an investment. You take the time to do that eye contact one-on-one with everybody. Then that person feels like I know that you're here. You know that I'm here.
Feel included.
And so at that moment, now that person is more invested in what you're doing.
Yes.
Even if they were already invested, they're now invested in like the connection because we saw each other.
we want to feel like we matter.
Yeah.
No matter where we're at.
So I'm automatically going to put more energy. Like, woo, you know, come on. Like that is what's.
It's on you now, Mel.
Well, I think that's what happens with all of us, though. I think that that's a valid point, Ryan, what you're saying, and acknowledging that, because that really does bond the fan and the concert goer to the musician in a real time way. You know,
Sometimes I think, like, what if we didn't really talk to people? What if we just sat up there and played our songs and maybe introduced the songs and a little bit of talking while we tuned up between? People might not remember us after we leave. They might go, oh, that was a pretty good band, you know, cool. But the fact that they talked to us even during our set break, going out and talking to people, meeting them.
yes,
I feel like that makes them remember who we are, asking them, hey, did you follow our socials, you know, so they can keep up with where we're going and whatnot.
It's that family feel.
Yeah, I was going to say it makes that personal connection, which is one of the reasons we started doing this, is to talk to.
Wait, why'd we start doing this?
We started doing it to talk to musicians we love, the musicians we loved, and then now we've talked to so many musicians. Once you have that personal connection, and you know about their family, where they live, this and that, then you're going to the show rooting for your friend. Like you're all of a sudden, there's a personal connection, and it's like, I know this person more than, like you said, just a band that plays and then leaves. It's like, well, I don't know anything about them. They're gone now. Like, yeah, next band.
When we went and saw the Sam Grisman project, both times that we've seen them play, they're very engaged with the audience between songs, and like you feel like he's talking to you between each song. It's a weird thing. Like the crowd was starting to like kind of talk amongst themselves while they were tuning. And Sam even turned around and like shushed the crowd. It was like, shh, we can't turn this up. The way you can hear us better is by you guys being quiet, and we're going to play another song. And it really did make that feeling of like, we're on a huge front porch all together watching you guys do your thing. And that's special, man. The world that we live in today, moments are cheap. It's like everything's 30-second, 10-second clips, swipe, swipe, swipe.
You lost my attention.
Yeah. What were we talking about? And so when you can cultivate that, with
create an
people, it's
intimate
special.
moment with thousands of people or hundreds
or
of
even
people.
20.
Yeah, it's great.
So
It really is.
how long has this been going on exactly?
The residency?
The band itself.
2 years-ish.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
And the residency. I was going to ask that. How long you've been doing the Gilgamesh?
I would say we're probably coming up on a year.
Wow.
And
it's still going?
it's still going. And there have been a couple moments in the history of this residency where there was the fear that it might get taken away from us. And so that really like lit this fire. Like, we need to give people a reason to come back week after week, and we need to build this community so that it's something special and show that we're worth keeping around week after week after week,
That's really cool.
And that helped push me into doing things like, hey, when we take a set break, I'm going out in the audience. I'm going to meet 3 new people, learn their names, learn something about them. Because maybe they'll want to come
That's
back.
taking it to another level.
Yeah.
That really is.
That's building
community. Yeah.
for real. And I don't know, man. Again, everything is so fast and fleeting right now. I feel like we need that more than ever in this moment that we're in right now, man.
Yes.
It's that's medicine.
Yeah. No, it really is.
And it still trips me out that like playing music can be a connecting force. Like, you're playing an instrument. I wouldn't think that that's a thing that can bring people together. But when you guys are doing it and the music is touching people, it brings us all into this space together where we're connected. And it's to this day, I'm like, really? It's music that does that? Why isn't it, reading poetry or dance or something, but this is the thing that really builds that.
And that heals.
That too.
Music is medicine for the listener and the player. Like he's saying that, like, you're more, we hear that a lot with musicians that say that's like, I am more comfortable when I'm playing. You know, that sometimes we had a few that are not used to interview. That's like, this is tougher talking about it than doing the thing.
I guess I understand that because you have something in front of you. Do you feel safe behind your instrument in a way?
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I was in middle school, just learning guitar and stuff, it was just something I did in my bedroom for no one to hear.
Right.
You know, so I'd go to school and I didn't, you know, I wasn't Mr. Popular. I didn't get along with everybody. I was fine, but you know, it was stressful, you know, school. I didn't do too well in school. I didn't get the best grades, you know, I was smart, but it wasn't my thing.
It wasn't your
bag. But I'd go home and I'd be able to just play guitar. It was like de-stressing me. It was almost a form of meditation. And then now it's like, you know, I don't think I could go on stage and do a stand-up comedy routine for an hour. I don't think I could possibly do that. I'd be anxious the whole time. I'd be, you know, but I can sit there and play my guitar for 3 straight hours and have a great time interacting with people. And the interaction with people, not only does it help the people feel more included, it helps us feel more comfortable on stage. It's like, we're not playing to random strangers anymore. We're playing to people we know, people we've talked to, you know?
So after a couple of years of doing this thing, what's the plan?
Keep doing it even harder.
Even harder. I like that.
Just setting little goals, you know, putting the carrot out a little bit further.
So what are some of those steps?
Yeah. Well, last year we had the goal of 100 shows in the calendar year, and we hit 164.
Wow.
Holy shit.
In 38 different cities. So
wow.
I mean, that's definitely a step
That's
in the
pretty
right
serious,
direction.
actually.
Yeah.
Just
For 2 years.
That's every half the year.
yeah.
Are you all like working full-time jobs too on top of this, or how are you managing?
I work a part-time job at the dining hall on campus.
Okay.
Yeah.
We teach. I teach guitar. I have about 9 students right now, and Ryan has like 150.
No. I think I have 12 or 13, but yeah, we teach private lessons.
Okay.
That's great.
But this, I mean, the band is the main focus.
That's
Yeah.
what we
As far
call
as
our full-time
occupation.
job.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that it's kind of got to be that way, especially with playing music, because the pool is wide. There's a lot of people playing music, and it's difficult to distinguish yourself and get gigs, and it's just hard. It's a hard road. So like, it kind of has to be your focus, your main thing.
Yeah, yeah. Because as I've booked all these shows, I've had to just get used to being ignored or getting lots of no's, and just keep going, just keep trying. There's, you know, endless
Someone's gonna say
venues to
yes.
reach out to, or endless opportunities out there. But if you're just consistently trying and being persistent with the ones you have tried, following up, and, you know, putting all your energy into trying to make this thing a reality, that things will start lining up for you.
Well, like that, following up with the ones that say no, being persistent, like makes a big difference. If somebody keeps, it's like,
How bad do you want it?
They're serious about this. They keep coming back, wanting to play.
Yeah.
Let's give them a shot.
He followed
Like,
up with me 6 times. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how I've gotten some of the guests on the show. I just
dedicated.
annoy the shit out of them. I mean, I always figure, like, with doing this and hitting artists up to come on the show, same thing as reaching out to a venue and asking to play a gig. All I can fucking say is no. You're not going to take away my birthday. Like,
right.
what gives a shit? And so what's the harm in asking? And maybe that one big artist will say yes, and then we're stoked. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how you do the thing, man.
And keep doing it.
Keep
doing
it
the
on.
thing.
Yeah.
So are you writing tunes right now? Are you going to do an album? What's going on with that?
Yes. We played so many, you know, covers here just while we've been gigging so much. But originals are a big priority.
Yeah,
It-
we're trying right now to incorporate more originals into our set, and we're working on an album. We're kind of in the writing phase. I think we got like 7 songs or so written right now, and we're practicing them, trying to get to a point where we can go into the studio and perform them together, as a unit instead of multi-tracking, and it'll be cool.
So once you get the album, what do you do? Like as a musician or a band, you record this album, and then the next step is to put it out on the platforms, right? I hope that people listen to it, but like beyond that, what do you do?
Oh,
Good
we're still
question.
figuring that out.
Right.
You're going to find out. You're going to find out.
We definitely watch other bands very closely and see what
Yeah.
strategies they're trying out. But we also just, what's the name of the company we just,
Oh, I forget. I remember the guy who
Dropout Media.
Yeah, they do like marketing consultations and whatnot. So we worked with them, and they gave us a kind of a 6-month marketing plan for once we have the album. Here's some things you can do. So that's definitely given us an outline of what to do.
Right
But it's
on.
still going to be a lot to learn actually doing this stuff.
I think that's part of the beauty. At least it has been for doing No Simple Road. I didn't know shit about this. And like, I had to just figure it out as I went. And that's actually part of the fun of doing something creative and having your own thing, is like watching it evolve and come to life and learning new ways and strategies and all that stuff. That's like part of the deal, man.
Yeah, learning hands-on, trial and error, and
Yep.
yeah.
Did you guys, each one of you, always know you wanted to play music?
I think from the moment that I got my first instrument, I did. And when I was about 12 years old, started playing the saxophone.
Wow.
For me, I think it was out around high school, my sophomore year. I was in basically every other ensemble in school. So I was in marching band, wind ensemble, jazz band, jazz choir, winter percussion, all that stuff. I think I realized like I'm in all this music stuff. I'm even outside, taking lessons. I think just one day just kind of hit me like I really do want to just do music, since it's so ingrained into what I do.
Why were you doing that? What was in school? Why? I mean, you
I
could have
just
done
loved
anything
it.
else.
I loved it. And
Okay.
it was, I think it was just that connection ever since starting to play music in middle school, and just stuck with it. And I think I just really found a passion for that. I think it wasn't until maybe junior year of high school where I decided I probably wanted to go to college for music, because my first plan wasn't to go to college at all.
Wow.
But
You
I
decided
think
you
things
wanted to
just
learn
change, it's just weird,
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
there like a major influence, or was it just kind of like your momentum of doing things?
It was definitely like when I was a kid, just like when I was in elementary school, my dad would play me Metallica, Master of Puppets, and I fell in love with that. And over time, just getting into 90s grunge music and all this other rock stuff, and just discovering bands, discovering a bunch of records that, listening to them, like those records are ingrained into my bones.
They
And
made you feel
whatnot.
stuff.
And times just sitting down and just learning songs, which is just really fun. So I think I definitely found my way of or passion through music of just learning music. And
Yeah, because not everybody does that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That takes a certain kind of a person to hear music and then be like, I'm going to figure that out. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
So it's in you.
What's some of those albums that are like ingrained in you?
well, since I mentioned Metallica, it's like the Metallica, like Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets and Justice for All.
Yes.
You're speaking our language right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Alice in Chains and Nirvana,
Yes.
like all that stuff. But I think like it was definitely like the rock side of things. But for like the longest time, my favorite band in high school was like Tool, like all that stuff. But now it's like I love the Doors, and I like almost anything.
Music
from
is dope, period.
jazz,
Yeah.
hip hop,
Well,
synth pop,
clearly.
I suppose as well. Why not?
No,
Right on.
You mentioned jazz choir. What
Yes.
is jazz choir?
So it's literally just a choir with a rhythm section. So it's like sometimes
Okay.
like playing jazz standards, but so like I played bass, and then we had a drum set player, piano player, and just like play Elton John, that kind of stuff. So I'm still so at Western, I'm still in the Western Oregon Voices, which is jazz choir. So I'm still doing that stuff.
Okay, cool.
That's sick.
When I wasn't familiar with that term. When you said jazz choir, in my head, I had
It's
like
choir and jazz.
I had a picture of
Right.
of like singing, like a whole bunch
Yeah.
of people
Well, there's
jazz
also-
choir,
yeah.
like scatting.
Yeah, there's concert choir, symphonic choir, but there's just different types. you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So how about you? What did you know from little kid to?
Yeah, I think I did, but then I was really good at like denying and suppressing that for like about 10 years because I listened to what you might call practical or conventional wisdom from friends and family telling me,
Yeah.
oh, well, music it's fun, but you probably want to get yourself into a steady, stable career.
Gotta have a backup.
Yeah, right.
It's
so
not. They don't mean harm by it, but it does kind of harm a musician or an artist to hear that.
Right,
Like it is as valid as anything else, and as much as you feel like your worth and your value, that's how far you're going to go in your craft. And so we all need to be like pumping up our arty kids out there, because I think that they need to understand that it's valid. They can make a living at playing the guitar. They can make a living at picking up the mandolin and doing it if that's what they want to do.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I
Like
switched my major. I went to school as a music major and then switched to kinesiology, and then
That's very interesting.
I worked as a personal trainer and group fitness instructor for about a decade.
So you can help your bandmates have good posture when they play, so you can have a nice long career.
That's right.
Tell me about it.
And that was still rewarding work. And a lot of mental health benefits. I still work out regularly, mostly for that reason, the mental health. But I think COVID, though, I always still tried to have music in my life throughout those years, but it wasn't until COVID happened that I was like, I don't know, it made me rethink everything about my life.
It
my
did
choices.
that for a lot of us, man.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Yeah, you didn't have a choice.
To have everything stop and like distraction removed,
Yeah.
and now you're like faced with yourself.
Mhm.
You're gonna come to grips with
It's a powerful
what
moment.
I mean, it fucking sucked. Don't get me wrong, but
Well, and it seems like through that, because we heard all the horror, like how the divorce rate, like everybody had to look at their relationships, their home life, everything. It ruined a lot of things, but it seems like the majority of the musicians found a way to thrive and do other. So many people were like, I was finally able to do this solo project that I wanted to do for years, but never had the time. Like so much good came out of it. Like Aaron said that it was like a renaissance.
yeah,
That came out of that because people were at home writing, and they said on their way up they were just listening to the Billy Strings episode, and like you heard that when he had a chance to he's at home working on his muscle car, get ready to go fishing, enjoying life. And who was it? Dave Schools.
Talking
It was
about his
like,
peach tree.
this is the first time in almost 30 years that I was at home to be able to pick a peach off of my tree. Usually my wife would can them, save it for me when I got off the road. So, it did a lot for musicians, it seemed like.
Well, we actually, what you're talking about, having a safety net and having people tell you that's been coming up around here lately.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
this week a
Oh, yeah.
lot. We were talking with a friend the other night that has the opportunity to like go out with a pretty big band on tour with them, not a musician, but like a support, right? And he was saying, yeah, man, I just been fighting with myself of like, what am I doing? I'm like going on tour with this band. I need to get a job, going back and forth in his head. And I was like, you know what? There's no rule book to being an adult, man. You get to make your own fucking decisions on what you're going to do. If you decide that's the thing that's going to make you happy and you can support yourself doing it, you're not going to be penniless, then do it. There's nobody stopping you from doing what you want than you. And it's hard when you've had that programmed into you your whole life that like you got to do shit a certain way. And then you start to realize that like things aren't like that. It takes time to like shake that off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that model has been broken too. It doesn't like that old, like, you need to have a backup plan, get into air conditioning or something, because the dream, like the old American dream of you get a job, you work 25 to 30 years, you get a great pension, you get all this stuff. That doesn't really exist anymore.
Sounds boring.
Sounds awful.
Like you're really lucky
fell
if you
asleep
get
and
a
woke
job
up,
where
right?
you
Yeah,
get to
what were you saying?
retire at like 55, 60 and you're done working and you still have a great income. That's rare now.
I think the power of a band is the commitment that you all make to each other. That's the power of the band, because showing up every Tuesday, no matter what, that's right there. Like, for what'd you say, indefinitely, like keep it going. That's it can be a sentence, or it can be the best thing that you look forward to in your life. You know what I mean? And when you commit like that and you're spending like time with each other and all of that, like that grows into something. It grows into what energy you're feeding it. And I just think that that's so cool when three people take time out of their life at the same exact moment, all like regularly, to do that.
Sounds like a podcast too.
Well, yeah, it is a big commitment. It's a huge commitment, and I think it's rad.
Definitely.
It's rad that you guys are musicians. I
So,
love musicians. Go musicians.
For each of you, what's your favorite thing about being in this band? I know that's tough.
Well, I'm in love with this style of music,
Yeah, that's a great answer.
and
It's kind of written all over your face.
Yeah, you look.
Honestly,
You can see it.
you do look in love.
Oh,
Seriously,
nice.
yeah. It's
And
cool.
I've found some high level musicians who are really motivated, and Gage will come back, and after like a hard weekend of practicing, and he'll be ripping on this fiddle tune a little faster, a little cleaner, with some new tricks. And I'm like, oh man, I need to revisit that one.
Dang,
You know, like-
Gage.
Oh, you're pushing
So
each other.
We're pushing
He does
each
the
other
same
for
thing.
sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
cool.
because it's almost like a game at that point, like passing the baton, like, look what I learned. Boom, back to you.
Yeah. We keep pushing each other, and then if we ever need to get humbled, we go to a festival and we play with players that are much better than us.
And then that happens.
Yeah.
Gage,
Yeah.
what about you, man?
I think that for me, it's just getting to pick with my best friends every day. And, it's like, it's my job, whether I want to or not, I get to go and play these
Yeah.
tunes that we care a lot about. They're important to us. These traditional tunes too. They tell a story about history. This
Yeah,
is
man.
the history of the last 100 years. Some of these fiddle tunes date back to the British Isles, so there's that aspect of it too. And yeah, it's just getting to play with my best friends. And, bluegrass specifically is so cool because you can take these instruments anywhere and just start up a jam. You don't need amps. You don't need a drum set. You don't need all this stuff. You can
About
just
to do one here.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
What about you, brother?
I think my answer would be similar to Ryan's, of just playing with them, and it just like there's some times where like Gage will play a tag at the end of a song, and I look at his fingers, and then I'll play it on the bass sometimes. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible for a bass player to do on an upright, by the way.
But I think just picking up on those kind of things, and just this act of playing music and getting into the moment. It does feel pretty magical. I love it.
Look, we're all living in our own head, in our own trip. And when you are playing music with somebody, you're creating a group mind. It's telepathy. It's I don't even know what to call it. And that is magic. I mean, we're not doing that at the grocery store with the guy in the checkout in front of us. This is a thing. And so I agree with you. That's fucking awesome and magic, man. I want to see you guys play. Can we do that?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
dog. I won't be your man at all. Honey, let me be your salty dog. Fuck yeah. Thank you guys.
Like twist and turn, the mission turn, and message journey. Wish the word as many problems, but it's a burden. Felony just been deferred, and hell it means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? No simple road. 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 My windshield is shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A = A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
It is now 2024, and the choice is up to you. Do you listen to good podcasts, or do you listen to bad ones? Well, we've got a suggestion for you. How about you listen to a good podcast for the first time in your miserable life? I can think of one. Overnight Drive. Going strong. 11 years now. The podcast about nothing. Your favorite podcast's favorite podcast. Do you enjoy nothing? So do we. Why don't you come over and check it out and stop listening to other podcasts? Thank you.